Once, seeing the Bioware logo on a video game was a seal of quality. It meant you were in for an unforgettable journey where all your choices, actions, and decisions actually mattered. You could be a hero or a villain, generous or selfish, or even just do whatever felt good in the moment, and it was all part of the Bioware experience. But today, this is a name met with skepticism at best, and complete dismissal at worst. Like Konami and Rare before them, Bioware have fallen from grace in the eyes of consumers. But this is less to do with their own creative vision and more to do with the involvement of their publishers, Electronic Arts. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Infamously taking home the Consumerist Award for the worst company in America twice in a row, as voted by members of the public and landing them a trophy shaped like a golden turd, EA are widely disliked for their controversial business practices. They are known in the industry to be a studio killer, closing acclaimed studios such as Visceral, Origin, Pandemic, and Westwood, just to name a few, with Visceral's closure right while they were in the middle of developing a Star Wars RPG title. With names like Amy Hennig, writer of the first 3 Uncharted games, attached to the project, it seems ridiculous that EA wouldn't want this game to be released. But it, along with the studio, died a sad death in 2017.
Make a game that is set in the Star Wars universe, but to really tell an authentic Star Wars story. And that's actually a hugely different thing.
Curbing the creativity of their own teams is something no publisher should be guilty of, and the best games are made when studios are allowed to achieve their own vision. But it's what EA have been doing. After the closure of Visceral, EA's statement said that, quote, "It has become clear that to deliver an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we needed to pivot the design," end quote. Meaning that all the focus went to multiplayer games with more money-making potential. EA want games that people will keep putting money into for a long time to come, playing for years, and hopefully giving in to the dreaded microtransactions.
I'm gonna get what I want eventually.
As far as Bioware are concerned, however, EA's mantra of players enjoying experiences which last for much longer than the proxy 60 to 100 hours of a role-playing game is ultimately harming the studio. It began back in 2012, with the polarizing Mass Effect 3. Many fans have postulated that the seemingly lazy and unsympathetic ending was not Bioware's fault, but rather EA's, as EA pushed for more people to be involved in developing multiplayer for a game which really doesn't need it. With less people available to work on making the ending as satisfying as it should have been, Mass Effect 3 left a sour taste in the mouths of fans who have put hundreds of hours into Commander Shepard's journey. It was EA wanting this continuous multiplayer experience which added the card packs, aka loot boxes, to the unnecessary online play. These same features returned in Dragon Age Inquisition, awarding players rare weapons and items which give them an artificial advantage in the multiplayer. Another early example of EA's hated pay-to-win mechanics after their implementation in Mass Effect. As soon as production on Mass Effect 3 ended, BioWare's core Edmonton studio were tasked with making Anthem. But while Edmonton worked on that, Mass Effect Andromeda was handed over to a different studio altogether, BioWare Montreal. Andromeda was a commercial flop when it released in 2017. Many fans of the original trilogy did not like it, and even newcomers couldn't forgive its severe technical issues and unimaginative storytelling. Eventually, an investigative report by Jason Schreier of Kotaku revealed that EA had put one of its biggest IPs in the hands of a studio who had never even made a full game before. Smarting from the backlash of 3, EA didn't care much about Andromeda, instead pushing BioWare's core talent towards Anthem. While Andromeda spent 5 years in development, almost all the work happened over 18 months as they were forced to meet impossible deadlines. Following its cold reception, the Montreal branch of BioWare was dissolved, leaving the Mass Effect franchise dead in the water, in spite of Andromeda's multiplayer content.
My father's dead. He made me his successor.
Alec is dead.
Which brings us Anthem, where its development has caused many major names to leave the company, including General Manager Aaron Flynn, Dragon Age's creative director Mike Laidlaw, Baldur's Gate's lead designer James Olin, and Mass Effect's lead writer Drew Karpathian. It's been reported that BioWare are under a huge amount of pressure to make Anthem a truly revolutionary game, with many employees feeling like it's make or break for the studio. If Anthem does not do well, it may be the end. But this doesn't stop gamers from feeling a sense of abandonment by the title, which leaves behind all traditional RPG elements in favor of the still unsuccessful MMO Lite experience. It's always online, and while you can opt to play alone, this makes the game harder and less fun. But BioWare's core fanbase of RPG diehards generally don't want a permanent multiplayer experience a la Destiny or The Division, which is why Anthem remains controversial.
The gods vanished and left our world in chaos.
EA wants Anthem to be a 10-year experience, with BioWare leads promising story-based content will constantly be added, though this mirrors the claims Bungie made about Destiny, which so far have been very divisive. If this fresh content comes in the form of free updates, then as long as it has plenty of content at launch, it will only be a good thing, and even paid DLC isn't always bad. In fact, BioWare themselves have a good track record of quality expansions. But at the same time, when important content was removed from Mass Effect 3 only to be released as the paid Day 1 DLC, players have every right to reserve judgment. And yet, Anthem has every potential to be an outstanding game if BioWare's core team make good on their promises, and all the gameplay we've seen so far has looked both gorgeous and fun. Just because it's not the experience many players are looking for or expecting from the studio does not mean that it will be a bad one. And with so much talent, it most likely won't be. BioWare are putting their heart and soul into making Anthem the best it can be under threat of closure from their publishers, and only time will tell whether they make a comeback after so many controversies and failures, or whether EA has killed yet another studio. Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.